And it's still very early days in the season, obviously, Mark, but so far it seems relatively positive. What are your feelings on it all?
Good. Probably unlucky in a way not to come away with, I suppose, maximum points in most games, if not all. But that's the league, isn't it? Concede late against Hull and then suppose score late against Millwall, so it evens itself out in the long run. But started well and confident and happy.
And certainly at your end of the pitch, I mean, the bulk of the goals in that sort of Millwall game, but you seem to be creating more chances as a team more regularly.
Yeah, I think that's been the main focus, I suppose, with the management is about sustaining attacks and creating as many chances as possible. And we had a meeting this morning. The first 4 players that started the game at the weekend is the first time we've ever played together, so it has to be taken into consideration that there's I suppose a new way of playing, a new style, and new players amongst us.
Does it help someone like Sinclair? I don't know how much you've sort of trained with him, but you must have had at least a few sessions with him with the national team.
No, I haven't trained with him nationally. He has been involved, I suppose, a little bit with the under-21 side. He did make his debut, I think, but that was before I was involved. So we've missed each other on that front. But we've had plenty of time, to work together. But when games come along, it's always different than training.
And realistically, with somebody like him, especially for you in your position, he just offers you such different threats, perhaps, than what you've had before to work with.
Yeah, nice to play with. I suppose you look at the weekend's games. The weekend's game, there's a few chances where slid him in behind, and he was unfortunate, I suppose, not to nick a few goals. So you can't beat pace. So it's always nice to play with a player who has it.
And for you, it certainly looked like you were really sort of hitting your straps on Saturday. Is that the best thing you've done?
And by the way, I've seen some things that were written in the media. So this weekend's game was, in a way, a little bit me back to myself. Felt like I created a lot, which some people didn't think I did. But there is some footage there where there was big opportunities created, and just unfortunately they didn't go in the back of the net.
It's one of those things, isn't it? Everybody's got an opinion in football. Do you sort of pay attention to because you're always going to get good and bad, aren't you?
Listen, it's 2024. Everyone has a phone nowadays. You see everything as much as people might want to cover it up. You do see quite a lot. And yes, everyone has the right to their opinion, but it's always nice when it's the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. And some people really take it to heart and are affected by it. Where are you on that sort of spectrum?
As long as it's true, I don't mind. Listen, harsh reality is the most important thing. If you're not playing well and people are saying you aren't, then you got to take it on the chin. But when you do well, you want to see that replicated in the media, and sometimes it's not.
Yeah, well, that's life, unfortunately, isn't it? And I guess especially with most of the signings being sort of attacking signings, and yes, there's a few players that have left as well, but competition places around the squad is probably as tough as it's been in quite a long time here.
Yeah, manager touched on it last season. We went to have a chat together, and that was a big focus of bringing players in to keep players on their toes. And it in the end of the day, it improves the training sessions. Everyone's levels get higher because they want to stay in the team. And in a way prove a point that they should be playing, so competition's always healthy.
Yeah, and you had, I think, a little bit of time away from the football on the race course yesterday.
Yeah. No, it was a good day for us. Me and Jason Knight, we've had our first winner as racehorse owners, so that was a nice little bonus for us. She won over at Chepstow for us, so it was a lovely day for us.
What's the horse's name?
Vaunted. She would have been named as a 2-year-old. We only bought her at Christmas. She's a 5-year-old, so someone owned her before us, but we've got our win out of her, which is always nice.
And was it a close one? Were you sort of nervy?
She won going away, which was nice. She was comfortable in the end, but hopefully she can stick a run of form together now and win a couple more.
And is it nice to have that sort of, not distraction, but something to focus on outside of football?
This is my hobby. A lot of players will talk about golf. You'll probably see 15 to 20 players here talk about golf. It's never been me. I've never stepped foot on a golf course. And fortunately for me, my hobby's racing. That's what I enjoy outside of football. yesterday, summed it up what good days can look like.
Yeah. Well, here's hoping there's plenty more of those to come for the horse, and maybe for you on Saturday up at Derby, where it's going to be, just the latest in a long line of tough tests in the Championship.
That's it. Yeah. I suppose every game at the minute, we always expect it to be difficult in a way, especially away at a team, I suppose, who's a big club but have come up last year wanting to prove a point, stay in the division in a way, and it'll be tough like every other week. But hopefully we can get a result, go into the break with positive minds.
Thank you.
Cheers.
How do you, as kind of a player in the squad, established player in the squad, when you're seeing players come into the squad from outside who play in similar-ish areas to you, how do you kind of react as an individual to that?
Well, I don't know if we've brought in a right winger or such.
I guess not directly.
Yeah, we've brought in attacking players, which is, I always say, it's a bonus. You've got to back yourself individually to play in the team, and ultimately that's the main aim. We're all together in it. We're all trying to, get the same thing from it, which is a promotion out of the league and being successful. But the manager says is last year till this year, it ain't 2 different seasons. It's a progression, and if you want to move on from last year, you got to do something different, and whether that be bringing in new players or whatever, it's always has to be healthy and positive, and we welcome them in with open arms, and hopefully they can help us go forward.
Because I thought it was interesting, and it's like an edited version, so I wasn't there, I didn't, but when the clips came out from Portugal and you arrived, you seemed to be one of the first people to sort of like vocally kind of welcome him in.
Yeah, which player? You. Anyone in general?
No, you. Sorry, you.
Yeah, that'll catch a few people. No, listen, don't get me wrong, he probably hasn't got a clue what I'm saying at the time, but it's for me expressing in a way that he's trying to get comfortable with us. He's come from the other side of the world. I've come from Ireland, which is 45 minutes away on a flight. I understand what it feels like to move away from home and not have anyone. He's been injured for a few weeks now. He sat downstairs. You aren't allowed your phone. He's kind of sat there. Lads are speaking in the treatment room, and he's just sat there. And I know how maybe uncomfortable it is for him, but to try and, I suppose, show him a little bit of emotion or just help him along the way, whatever I can do. And I'll still be like that with him the rest of the year until he leaves, or if he's here for good or whatever. It's just me trying to help him out because I know how, I suppose, difficult it can be in a way.
Because it's interesting, because obviously you say about players in your position, because there could be a time where it's you or him in the team, isn't it? So he's kind of...
Well, in a way, yeah. Well, hopefully, he's a top player. We've not really seen a lot of him because he come in, had a few sessions in Portugal, then went away to the Olympics. And he's come back, he's been injured, he's trained a little bit on his own out there, but if he's a top player, if he's one of the best players in the league, happy days, we've got him, Whether he's playing my position, a different position on the pitch, I'm unsure because I haven't really seen a lot of him. But like I say, if he's a top player, then happy days.
That welcoming character that you bring, you've always been like that?
Especially with players who, I suppose, I can sense that it would be a struggle, I put myself in his shoes. If I was going to Japan to play football and hadn't got a clue what was going on, it would be nice for someone to, break the ice a little bit in a way. And like I say, probably hasn't got a clue what I'm saying. But it's just, in a way, just trying to help him more than anything. And I don't know if he notices it or whatever, but just that's the way I'm, suppose, put myself out there for him a little bit.
You haven't tried to get him into horses?
No, and it's big in Japan as well. Yeah, I did show him a photo of a horse, but he wasn't interested. So he mustn't like it.
When you talk about your own individual form, and sort of similar question asked the manager, in your position, how much of your game is confidence?
I think you'll find it's everything in a way. I touched on it last year in plenty of interviews. When you do a few good things on the pitch, everything just comes off easier for you. And the manager's big on that, just getting back to basics. And he would say the same thing: get yourself back in credit, which means do the simple things right, build a bit of confidence, and then build your way back into the game. But we've played 3 league games, so you have to remember, like, people aren't just going to come back in the league and be flying on all cylinders. Like I said, the front four that played the other day is the first time we'd ever played together in a game. So, in my mind, I feel like we're going to improve as a unit. We tend to break ourselves down a little bit in units. We do some unit meetings where the attackers stay in a meeting and the defenders, you know, do their own meetings, and it's just about gaining relationships really, and understanding what each other's strengths are and how you can get the best out of one another, and hopefully that develops throughout the season.
That process of sort of getting yourself back in credit, is that a new thing for you? Because I'd imagine...
In a way, in terms, if you're phrasing it in a sentence, yes, but in basic football, that's always been a way. Like, if you've had a poor enough game and you keep trying to do all crazy stuff, you would never do that. But when the manager puts it into words, it almost sticks in your head in a way. If you've had a few, you know, bad touches or bad passes, next one, make sure it's simple, make sure it's completed, and then you go from there. And it's all about mindset with a manager and, you know, calmness and just trying to do the right things, I suppose.
How are you kind of feeling about the ever-growing Irish contingent?
Good, yeah. The more the merrier. We've had a few links as well. I mean, the players are literally the last people to know. The media know probably first. Fans know second, and then the players are last to know. But it's always nice when you're linked with a few Irish players, and, you know, players I've probably previously played with as well.
Someone like Adam Murphy, for example. Yeah. Like, do you still follow the domestic game quite a lot?
A little bit, but me and Adam played in different leagues.
Of course,
yeah. So the Southern League probably wouldn't be of massive interest to me because I never played in it. Whereas, yeah, I would still follow what I would call the Irish League back home, especially because I played in it, you know. But yeah, listen, don't get me wrong. If I see a big game on, a result, or teams playing in Europe, then I'll follow it. Yeah.
Cheers, Mark.
So,
thank